Hello, replacement teachers. So what I'm about to show you is how we can have a video meeting with the class that we are filling in for. So what we use is we actually use the Microsoft Teams link inside of Google Classroom. The classroom teacher would have posted a link inside of the subplans and would have made you a presenter. That's really important if you want to be able to share your screen and have any of those controls for muting or removing students. That all would have been done ahead of time. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like when we actually join the team and have a meeting with our students. I'm inside of the Google Classroom that I've been invited to as a guest teacher. Here I'll see not only the subplans that have been posted, I'll also see the class meeting link. When I click on that, I'll see something that says join the conversation. It's going to ask me where I would like to open this. If I'm on a Windows 10 machine or a MacBook that has the fully installed Teams program, I can go ahead and say open Microsoft Teams. If you're working on a device such as a Chromebook or another device that doesn't happen to have the Teams installed, you'll need to say continue on this browser. I'm going to go ahead and open Microsoft Teams. Once I do that, it's going to ask me how I would like to be able to join. It's going to show me my camera, my microphone, and I'll be able to say join now. Now, please don't worry that it says my video isn't working. It's because I'm filming this video. Your video would be available here in the bottom screen. What's going to happen is I notice I already have two students in the room. This is because if students are signed in with their Office 365 accounts, they can enter a room without teacher permission. However, some students, they're not signed in. Perhaps they're using Chromebooks or they're not signed into the browser. And so you may find that you'll have some students who have to request to join because they're guests. You will simply admit them from the lobby. Oh, there's Christine. You're going to want to double check that those are actually the students and greet them when they enter the room, just so you know who is who. I'm going to admit. Now what I'm going to be doing is saying hello to my students. Hello students, welcome to class. I'm your guest teacher today. Please turn on your cameras so that I can see you. I can invite my students to turn on their cameras. I can say hello to them. They can wave and I can know that they're there. Note that you may not be able to see all of your students. Only if you have the updated Teams on a Windows 10 machine will you be able to see the grid view of 49 students. So you'll likely see only a few students at a time based on who has their camera on. Now, one of the things you're going to note is that in here, I have the ability to show all of the participants inside of my team. I can see who is in here as a guest and who is in here as students. Now, everybody should be listed under attendees. Uh, Ben and Michael are actually part of my MTech team, which is why they are presenters in here. It should just be yourself listed as the presenter. If you see anything accidentally who are presenters that shouldn't be, just note the three dots beside any one of your participants. You can go ahead and you can make them an attendee, which means they don't have any of those formal controls inside of your team's meeting. I can also remove any students from the meeting if I needed to. And this is where I can mute any students that I need to as well if they weren't muted. So let's say Michael forgot and he left his microphone on. Oh no, we're hearing rattling background noise. I can mute him individually, or I have a mute all button. This is handy for when I have many students with their microphones on and I want to be able to mute them all so that I don't have to search through who's making noise. Another important place to look is inside of the chat. This is where your students are going to be able to have a conversation with you during the course of your lesson. And so here you can post a greeting to your students and ask them to check in. They'll be able to check in with you, post their greetings, and also post any questions that they happen to have throughout the course of the lesson. Please note that I actually can't prevent anybody from posting in the chat, and I can't delete anything other than my own comments in the chat. So you're going to want to make sure that perhaps you have a conversation about when and how you would like students to participate in the chat for questions. There is a raise a hand button that is available inside of Teams. And if one of my students raise their hand, oh, I can see that Christine has raised her hand. I'm going to be able to say, okay, Christine, go ahead and type your question in the chat. Or I can invite her to unmute and ask her question verbally to myself. remembering that all students have different abilities to be able to participate in the chat, so base it on the needs of the students. Hi, Christine, did you have a question? And she would be able to type that question or let me know. So Christine asked a question about being able to pin me because she wants to be able to see me here in the class. Just note, whenever you see the name of a person and the three dots, you'll be able to pin them. I can do that from my viewing screen here, or as well, I can do that from where it's show participants. And Christine would be able to note that. What I also want to be able to show you is your device settings. This is where you can choose the audio device, the speakers, the microphone, and of course the camera that you're using for the students to see you. That will be really important. You can also be able to have all of your different microphone and your camera. You can turn those off and on for the students to be able to see you. And then finally, the share content. This is where we want to be able to show another slide presentation. Perhaps I'm showing something to my students, I want to be able to share another screen. If you want to include something with audio, perhaps I'm playing a video, this will only be available on the Windows 10 version of Teams, but I'd want to be able to check off include computer sound before I go ahead and I hit present. I'd be able to share my screen, choose which one I want to share with the students, and now my students are going to be able to see my other screen. When I'm done sharing, I'm going to want to hide those sharing options. Just means I'm also stopping sharing. When the meeting is over, just note we can end the video meeting. However, we will be able to continue with our class meeting. So, all right, students, we're going to go. I'll be available in the chat for you if you have questions. Please continue to work on your assignment, and we'll be meeting again at 11 a.m. Bye, everybody. The kids can sign off inside of the chat, and I can go ahead and say leave. What's nice about this is I would still be able to have my Teams open, and I would be able to still see my meeting where I'm being able to look at the chat, even though I'm not inside the video meeting. When I need to rejoin that, I can go ahead and click join. So hopefully that works for you. Give that a try. Teams is a new environment. If for some reason there was not a Teams link shared with you where you were shared as the presenter, just make sure to contact your school administration so they can create a link for you and help you share that inside of the Google Classroom.